That's a first. Everyone went very quiet there. That means I'm learning on the job. Okay, welcome back everyone. We are going to kick off this session with a brilliant session. This is how Heineken makes every pound of media spend drive more growth and impact. I'd like to welcome to the stage Holly Dudge, the data-driven media director of Heineken UK, and Kimberly Birkin, client manager director of Dentspix. Give them all welcome.
We've got 15 minutes, guys, so we try to do this really quickly and leave some time for questions, so we hope there will be some. And apparently kind of quite a bit of pressure on us, considering that we are coming after an amazing panel that sets a good tone for what we're going to talk about. So yeah, no pressure. And thanks Sam for this headline, who prepared this presentation. Like, yeah, this is going to sound great, people are going to listen about it. Good. So what we're going to start with is probably Kim and I are going to talk a little bit about what we've already done when it comes to driving sustainability and responsibility for Heineken, and most importantly, what we are looking to do moving forwards. Starting with the fact that why exactly you should be bothered. I think I'm very privileged to work for the business where we say that we've got green hearts and we've got a green plus in our veins, because Heineken is green and getting greener. In 2009, we introduced Brew a Better World as our sustainability position. And last year, literally a year ago, 22nd of April, our CEO, Dolph, has introduced an updated version of the position that goes to sustainability, social and responsible consumption as well. So that gives us a good ground to actually talk about purposeful, sustainable, diverse marketing, something that guys were talking about before. Do we have a right? We believe that at Heineken we have a right, and that makes our marketing and media job much easier. But what it also does, very nicely talks about actually business versus doing good. Yeah. So at Heineken, you can see this diamond, as we call it, which is our corporate strategy. Growth, profitability, and capital efficiency lives together with our sustainability and responsibility agenda. So for us, it is about brewing a better world, but at the same time driving growth for our business, because we know that's going to drive the growth. Because as one of the researchers says, again, thanks Dutch for preparing for us, 66% of consumers by 2030 are going to buy only sustainable brands. So clearly, businesses need to prepare, need to filter. But most importantly, it's not just corporate strategy. You can see here a very swanky kind of logo, which doesn't have any Heineken on it, but this is my team logo, data-driven media team. So what we do, we translate our strategy into every part of our business, from supply chain to marketing to then trickling down to media. And that means that sustainability responsibility lives in everything within our business. And what we also do, we actually extend it even further into our partners. This is why I'm here with Kim, because that has been absolutely integral to defining what we've already done and what we will be doing together in hopefully driving a little bit better world with what we can do as a brand and as a business. And why you should be bothered and believe us. This is something that we've done last year and in the last few years actually. So we've started to do some ad hoc activations or ad hoc things to help us to create a better environment. First of all, looking into our talent. So we've done a variety of initiatives to actually help us to retain the talent. And at the moment, where right now, as you know, media world is crazy. It's hard to find digital people, hard to find media people. The churn now, agency side, is lower than industry. And actually it shows how close we are getting together and how we're appreciative of the people. And I'm very proud to say that my team is the most diverse team at Heineken UK. And we are basically driver of this within marketing. Secondly, Inches. I don't know, if anyone knows Inches? Hands up? Quite a few people, that's nice. Good. This is our new brand, literally celebrated last week, 1 year anniversary. And we launched Inches as the most sustainable new premium cider brand. And therefore, everything we've done for this campaign with lovely Dentsu team was based around sustainability. So all the out-of-home we used was absolutely sustainable and recyclable. We absolutely looked into using IPA calculator to offset our carbon footprint. And we won, as a result, an award because within this campaign, while being sustainable, we managed to drive category growth in declining category and bring younger consumers into it again, which is in decline as well. So it all translates into business, if you think about it. And then finally, globally, as Heineken, we are committing to spend 10% of Heineken brand investment in driving
always a choice, and responsible consumption, normalizing drinking. It is a part, it's not just about diversity, inclusion, sustainability, it is about driving that responsible consumption, that choice for people. And well, what you're going to see, or maybe your moms and grandmas predominantly, is that now you're going to see Heineken 00 on Coronation Street and Emmerdale as well, which maybe not the Gen Z that everyone is going after, but it is about making that consumption more responsible. So that's what we've done, and this was kind of ad hoc activities. But what we're looking to do, as I mentioned, is together with Dentsu, we are aiming to create a more sustainable approach to our INDS agenda. And we introduced the Heineken Collective, which is a framework and an approach to drive a difference in our company, but also hopefully a little bit in the industry and the society in driving diversity, inclusion, and sustainability. Go.
Thank you. That starts really with setting ourselves brave and ambitious targets. And those targets are, this year at least, set to permeate all of our media practices. But moving beyond that will allow us to start to make sure that KPIs are integrated into all media planning, buying, creative execution, and development. Our work on the collective allows us to take our view of inclusivity, diversity, and sustainability out of silos and pockets and actually pull it all the way through our partnership. So that's alongside our general commitment to improve our media practices. This work permeates everything we do with our teams, our planning, our work, our creative, our thought leadership, but importantly allows us to more closely connect the cultures of our businesses. That starts with people. So we know for sure, the more that we know as teams, the better that we will do in this industry. We've started by putting together a task force, a collection of people from both businesses. They are targeted with keeping momentum, and one of the things that they do in order to do that is focus on sharing ideas, thoughts, thought leadership, and inspiration from what other businesses are doing so that we can learn from others. And we are also committed as a pair of businesses to sharing what we're doing on our journey as well, mostly by standing and talking at events like we are today. Importantly, though, this extends beyond just our media and our marketing teams, whereby our social impact leaders from both businesses are connected and are working together to develop best practices. One of my favourite things from our commitments and pledges for our people part of this work is that we will be designing joint CSR days this year, and we'll be targeted on the uptake to those. We'll be focusing on projects and collaborations and causes that are aligned to our joint KPIs and our shared values. When we think about planning, really planning starts with the integration of ID&S within Heineken's commercial planning process. And that allows us to have a greater impact on brand plans right the way from the beginning of the planning, but allows us to make sure it's pulled all the way through the funnel. Heineken have a huge portfolio of brands, and actually our planning means that we need to start to think about which of those brands we can authentically start to use and harvest the insights that we get from our work, and which brands we need to carefully consider and perhaps think about using existing causes like this WWF Old Moot one you can see here. When we think about audiences, we think about understanding their motivations and understanding the composition of each of our inclusivity, diversity, and sustainable audiences to understand really whether what we are doing from a media perspective is reflective of the consumption of those audiences. That view of what the consumer is doing and their motivations is also pulled through into the way that we develop partnerships. And it allows us to start to think about informing creative to make sure that the ads that we're putting out are representative of the audiences that we're trying to reach. We know, and it won't be a surprise to anybody in this room, that 63% of diverse audiences state that they do not feel represented in advertising. Part of what we are doing to bring together media insights and creative more closely to inform the work is starting to have an impact, and the examples that you can see here are from our very recent Heineken Silver launch just 2 weeks ago, whereby the work that we're doing to understand the motivations of audiences has informed the ambassadors and the influencer choices we've made in this campaign. It's also helped us start to think about creating a pipeline of talent that will help us moving forward. Long term, though, the aim is to have KPIs for not only who's in front of the camera, but who's behind it too. And that's to help us make sure that we are thoroughly representing our audiences and also portraying them accurately. It's really important to Heineken, and I know there's lots of work going on in the corporate comms team to ensure that that is all aspects of diversity and not just race or gender. We are working with a small subset of partners to start to get under the skin of some of Heineken's meaty comms challenges. And whilst we're quite early on in this part of our journey, we've committed to spending a proportion of our media budget this year with these suppliers. We've also committed to making sure that any supplier we brief for Heineken is tasked with responding with their own ID&S commitments alongside, so that we can understand how that has impacted the responses that we get. And we think that actually the more of this that happens, the quicker the pace of change will be.
Yeah, so we went through 4 key pillars for us, but as in the beginning we said, it is about tangible outcomes, it is about KPIs. So how are we making sure that we are following that agenda that is very close to us? And I'd say to every person in our business, as Kim said, there is no meeting in our business that is not going to touch to some extent the challenges of diversity, inclusion, or sustainability. And therefore, it all trickles down to actual, like the KPIs and the outcomes that we drive. So it's a part of the work that we do, and it's a part of day-to-day ambitions as well, and the lifestyle. So in terms of tangible KPIs, I'll give you some examples of what we are delivering as a part of our media marketing agenda. As Kim said, we are committing to particular budgets that are going to be invested within to support diversity, inclusion, or sustainability, and sustainability. We are committing this year to 10% carbon footprint offset from all our digital campaigns. And I'll basically give you some example of what we are doing already. We are also committing to utilize the recycled paper across all of our out-of-home that is not digital. And we also commit to actually be certified across some of the TV programming as well. So this is just examples for media. Yeah, then we have corporate affair KPIs, we have supply chain KPIs, and every department in our business has this as a part of their agenda. Secondly, again, very kind of tangible and important from data-informed approach is consumer experience. Someone mentioned earlier, I think today, the consumer experience. I think it was like Cadbury, great example. By the way, we lost them in campaign awards with our Euros campaigns. Okay, I could see why. But driving that consumer experience through getting sufficient data and understanding consumer needs better is absolutely integral, because again, it gives you good insights, but it also gives you tangible outcomes. So we've launched consumer experience this year, and the 2 sides of it, one is generating quality data. What you're going to see very soon is our new partnership with Patch Plans. And this is one of our first partnerships where we actually have a data exchange, which is sustainability-based specifically. So those insights will help their business and our business moving forward to connect with people with the right messaging in a personalized way. Again, everyone likes the personalized, but to which extent we can, but making sure we actually tapping into their values, yeah, and helping to adjust our messaging to that. And then finally, learning, sharing, and reapplying, kind of the third aspect of driving a data-informed approach, and it's experimentation. Yeah, so we've got the media learning agenda, and sustainability and responsibility is a part of it. So we've got just a couple of examples for you here. I don't know if you know guys like We Are 8 or Kpis, probably some of you do. We Are 8, brilliant partner that we are testing this year with one of our campaigns, and we are aiming to basically offset carbon footprints by donating to actually plant trees. And our consumers are going to be informed of that as well, and we will run a research on the back of it to understand if they feel this is a relevant value, if they feel that is this shoehorned or is that authentic enough. And I think that kind of work needs to be done to understand actually what can and should we do as a business to actually prove to people that we are doing it, but also make sure we are doing it in the right way rather than doing it in a very corporate way. And with Kpis, we're also working on with a good loop. So again, a bit of a technicalities. My background is digital, love a bit of tech. We are using good loop tags to actually estimate what is the carbon footprint we generate from our campaigns, and then this amount is going to be again donated to offset the carbon footprint. And just so you know, I found out this morning from my brilliant team who's been working on this campaign, they basically said that on average, an advertising campaign generates a third of carbon footprint that consumer does in a year. It's like every time we set our campaign, that's what we do. And to me, I think it's very important that we start recognizing it and actually doing something to offset it. And then most importantly, of course, we work also with Denso on the carbon calculator to make sure that moving forward, we can estimate it as well. And to sum it up, basically, if that was very useful or not, but hopefully some of it was, the key pillars that we are working on as a business, hopefully for the next 3 to 5 years, is people, planning, creative, and partners. So connecting our businesses, not our media teams, not our marketing teams, adopting our insights, consumer insights, to inform all our media, well, all our brand choices, media and creative choices. Obviously creative, introducing the right set of partners, right set of influencers to drive the change. And then finally, obviously our partners working with everyone who touches our business so they can feel, live and breathe our values and help us to hopefully brew a better world. Thank you. Any questions? I don't know how much time we've got. If we do.
We've got plenty of time for questions.
Wow, okay.
Questions?
Yeah, sure.
Can you give that mic over there?
Thank you. Tim from Habu. Brilliant presentation. Also love the fact that you kind of got sustainability in with all those kind of overarching corporate and growth goals. But what tensions exist, if any, when you kind of try and throw in things that may necessarily butt up against growth? Do you find that there's ever any, conflict of interest there, or has there been any things that were more difficult to kind of reconcile in that mix of the diamond?
I'll be honest, when it comes to marketing, probably I'm very lucky and privileged to work for Heineken UK, where I had not even one negative conversation about it. Every time we have conversation about driving this agenda, our brand teams are up for it, our comms teams are up for it. And frankly, it is not really opposite to the growth ambition, because as I think Lydia very rightly pointed out earlier, this audience is our growth audience. Yeah? So if we want to have a future as a business, we have to understand them. So it is a part of what we do. I think what I see more of is actually more brand teams and people coming to us and saying, what else can we do? What can we do together? So my job recently became a job of connecting the dots as well within the business and helping us with marketing, comms and PR, teams at the global level, other markets, to find those commonalities and learn from each other better. So luckily, no. I mean, very, very lucky me, basically.
I was hoping you'd say that. Yeah.
Where you might find tension, though, is if we were to start trying to think about brands in the Heineken portfolio that did not have authenticity in the topic that it was talking about. So I think quite carefully considering which brands you're using to further the agenda is really key.
Yeah, hence why portfolio strategy is important for anyone. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
Hello. John from Sage & Archer. Quick question. Obviously, Heineken UK is what you're doing is brilliant, but how does it relate to Heineken globally? And is there the similar sort of approach globally within the main group?
So when it comes to global level, very nicely can direct you to our Heineken.com, where you can find our pledge for everything that we committed to from a global standpoint for responsibility. Specifically when it comes to marketing, globally, Heineken brand spends in every country 10% of our investment on responsible consumption. That's as an example of what we do. When it comes to the rest of the markets, as I said, I think we are on that agenda. I'll be honest, I think, again, we are very lucky in the UK to be developed markets and kind of drive the change, but our global team is constantly identifying similar opportunities. It's on everyone's radar. It's a part of everything we do. We do it in different ways, probably in markets. I don't know all of them, but again, every agenda that we've got absolutely has sustainability, diversity, and inclusion within it. Because again, Heineken within, like, it's as long when the new Evergreen strategy was launched, which was in 2021, Heineken business did an amazing job of cascading it in a very consistent way, and I was very impressed, coming from agency side, working across multiple businesses, that they've managed to do it really well. Yeah. There was no one.
Hi, Claire from Channel 4. Thanks for that. I was going to ask this question in the last panel, but even better that we've got a client on stage now. There's a nice question, I promise you, don't know.
That's fine.
So one of the things that we find a lot with brands and clients, very understandably, is the nervousness when you're pursuing a social agenda of putting your head above the parapet. You'll shake, you know what I'm going to ask. Putting your head above the parapet, going out there, making a stand against something, or even just, having a point of view in a place. How do you balance having your own house in order, which is often what we hear, versus going out and doing something? And Lydia talked earlier about the speed of change. And how have you where's the middle ground for you? Where's the sweet spot for you where you have the confidence to do that? And what advice would you give other brands?
So it's a very good question. And I think Kim earlier mentioned very important to stay true to your brands. I've heard a lot in the last couple of years about the brand authenticity and brand activism. Yeah. So for us as a business, I think it's important to know what can we say, what can we stand for, what we feel confident and comfortable saying. Because if we don't, and as Kim said, there are some brands in our portfolio that don't have naturally purposeful fit. And actually, I was in the presentation of Ian from Unilever about purposeful marketing the other day, and he was giving great examples. Like, here is Dove that has purpose, and we all know it. Here is pot noodles, doesn't have to have purpose, yeah? So it's all right. So I think for us, it's the same. We need to know what we stand for, where we can talk, and then we will have confidence, I think, to come out and talk about it. But at the same time, I think, again, going back to Dan, so Kim chip in, it's about finding right partners as well who share our values and who can help us to create the right things. It's inviting consumers to tell us a bit more. I'm so looking forward to next year because I hope we're going to do even more research to understand that multi-ethnical consumers, I love the definition that Lydia gave, and find the partners who are going to drive this change with us, because you're absolutely right. It's still our brands. We still need to make sure we stay true to brand, drive growth, but at the same time, we drive something good.
Claire, I saw something from Channel 4 actually last week that I think really clearly sums up the answer to your question, which is fear can create an environment where doing nothing is easy. And I think that's really the summary here, which is, we don't know everything, and actually Heineken as a business, Dentsu as a business, don't know everything, but standing up and trying to do something and talking about what we're doing on our journey is a start.
I'm really sorry if
That's
we've run out of time, but I'm sure the guys will still be here around the next networking break, so if you have any questions, please do come and find them. But for now, thank you very much.
Thank you.